right, welcome to episode 37 of the Thunder Underground podcast. My name is Trent, and I am joined by
Jason, and I'm glad to be here.
Right on. We are here to bring you all sorts of just random topics, as usual.
That's right.
And we were going to kick this off with our first initial quick thoughts about the Rocklahoma lineup that was just announced.
Yes, Rocklahoma, the lineup was just announced yesterday, and we could really go into it, but we'll have to save that for a whole other episode. But just, quick thoughts. What do you think? Is it pretty strong this year?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I think a little more than usual. Like, there's always...
Okay.
The thing with Rocklahoma, as we know, as I assume anyone that goes to these festivals knows, is you're going to love a lot of bands and you're going to hate a lot of bands. And there's going to be a lot of bands you don't care about.
Yes.
And there's always strong ones on both sides for me. Some bands that I just like, some of my favorite bands, and some bands that I could give two craps about. And this year is no different. But this year seems to be more heavy on bands that I like. And a lot of times Rocklahoma seems to be heavy. Like, I don't like the headliners and I love all the lower bands. Or I love a lot of the higher bands and don't like a lot of the lower bands. But this way it seems to be spread out for me more. I know maybe not for you, but this is the first year that I can remember. I don't know if maybe since this first or second year that I like all of the headliners.
Yeah.
And, Scorpions, Disturbed, Rob Zombie. I'm a big fan of all three of those. All three great live bands, so I'm looking forward to that, especially the Scorpions, because I've only seen them once, and they're unbelievable no matter what my friend sitting next to me says here.
Well, just give me a chance, but you go ahead, finish your thought.
That's basically it. I mean, we can get in real quick. Like you said, we weren't going to go into huge detail because we're saving that for a future episode where we're going to go into a full-on preview.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, my initial thoughts, things that jump out, where I was really shocked whenever I saw Devil Driver and Hatebreed and Last in Line.
Yeah, no kidding. And Bang Tango.
Yeah, and Bang Tango. Like, they always throw in a few of the bands, the glam or the 80s rock style bands from the first three festivals to keep the Rocklahoma style alive.
That's right.
To keep the people like us that loved it happy, but also the ones that, get butthurt that there's a complete change. Whatever, we can handle that because we like all sorts of shit.
Exactly.
But the thing I thought was cool is usually these bands that they bring back are the ones that kind of, the ones that were big, bigger, that headlined arenas. Your Dokken or Rat.
Exactly.
Even Great White was at that point. Obviously Tesla, Sebastian Bach, Skid Row, Lita Ford, Kicks, all those type of bands. Yeah. But Bang Tango is kind of the first one they've brought back that was on that second tier, where they were down there and they were never a headline band at all.
Exactly, yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool that they were on the list there.
Yeah, that was a curveball. Do you think they'll do any Beautiful Creature songs?
Yeah, because remember last time they were here, back whenever it was still the 80s Rock Fest, they played 2 or 3 songs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they played in one of the tents.
Something like that?
Yeah, 1 a.m. and Wasted, and I think maybe Get Back or something.
Well, if they don't play New Orleans, I'm going to raise some hell. That's all I know.
Well, yeah, if you're listening, Joe Leste, you better
right.
play some fucking New Orleans.
Mr. Leste. My thoughts, just right off the bat, there's anyone knows me is no secret. I am not a big Scorpions fan for whatever reason. It's not that I think they suck, because they definitely do not. They're packed full of talent and they're as classic can be. I just never could get into them. But I know that I recognize, their station in the rock world. And I will, probably go check out a lot of these songs. So I may not stay for the whole thing, but I'm definitely going to watch them. I'm not really a Disturbed fan. Really glad that Rob Zombie's back. That's going to be a great show. There's always, he plays all the stuff and love, and there's all kinds of stuff to watch going on stage, all kinds of stuff going on stage.
And a great band.
Yeah, and a great John 5. I mean, come on. But Seven Dust, Last in Line, Megadeth. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good one.
The Sword.
Really excited to see that. So Steel Panther.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's going to be a good time no matter what. We will be there. I will be there. I'll be the chubby guy with a big empty beer box on his head, using it for a hat. I think there's photographic evidence of that somewhere.
Yes.
The 18 packs, those boxes fit on your head just perfectly.
Right.
And, you know, if I drink enough, you'll see me walking around with one on my head. So it's going to be a party, and we hope to see everybody there.
Definitely. Is there anyone that, I know there is, you know, we followed the other festivals that are under the same umbrella, the World's Loudest Month, which is run by AEG.
Yes.
And they're not all the same, but there's always a big chunk of bands that cross over into all these festivals around the country. And there's always several bands that are on 3 or 4 of them, but not on one. And of course, this year we kind of got skipped on Lamb of God and Clutch.
Yeah, we did.
I think Trivium was on a couple, but you know, Trivium's coming here to Tulsa in a couple weeks, so that's not really a loss.
Yeah. Blackstone Cherry, I think, was on a
that's
few
right.
of them, and we didn't get them.
I forgot about that.
But, you know, it's like last year, Hatebreed was on a whole bunch of them, and they weren't at Rocklahoma. So this year we get Hatebreed, which is fucking amazing.
Right.
So very proud to have them and, you know, to see them and all that kind of stuff.
And I must say a big shout out to the fact that they're touring with, they just announced a tour with Devil Driver opening, so I assume that's the only reason Devil Driver is at Rocklahoma.
Probably.
So thank you, Jamie Joster, whoever set that up.
Yeah. Yes, big thanks. That works out great.
Yes. And like we said, we're going to do a full-on Rocklahoma preview here in the next maybe month or so. So be on the lookout for that if you have any interest in this. And if you're sitting here wondering if you're not from this area, like why are these guys just focusing on this festival? It's because we're from Oklahoma and this festival takes place about 45 minutes from our house. And we've gone every single year, 9 years now.
That's right.
This will be number 10. So we're very excited to have been able to do something like this because it's so close to us. I know a lot of people just sit around wishing they could go to these things because they're 6 hours, 8 hours away from their house and they can't do it. But
could you imagine this happened when we were 17?
Right.
I would have crapped my pants.
Yeah, I know. Well, with all that being said, let's just get into this episode of the Thunder Underground podcast. We want to kick this episode off with a song from a band out of Kansas City called Maximus. And as we've said many times on other podcasts, if you've got a band and you want a song played, send us an email at thethunderunderground@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook. Either way works. We'd love to be able to play your songs, listen to your music, promote you.
That's right.
And this is one of those bands that I believe hit us up, or you came across them somehow. Do you remember?
I can't remember. It seems like, I don't know. You know, there's so many ways.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad we came across them.
Yeah, and it's a good, we've had this band in our group of bands we want to play for a couple months now, and it's kind of good to be, we've got enough music here that we're behind on what we're playing. So it's a good thing. So just send us an email and we'll eventually get it on. We haven't forgot about you. This band is from Kansas City, Maximus, and the song is called Boomstick.
Time and I'm feeling fine. I watch the sun go down the call on the road. 6 guns up, I'll wait till the smoke is blown. Meet me on the hill with a boomstick, loaded up, driving to the knee quick. Meet me on the hill with a boomstick. I think I wanna hear it with a boomstick. Meet me on the hill with a boomstick, loaded up, driving to the knee quick. Meet me on the hill with a boomstick. I think I wanna hear it with a boomstick.
That was Boomstick from Maximus, once again out of Kansas City, Missouri. What are your initial thoughts on that?
It's a great song. It's I like the vast kind of chorus leading up to the just catchy as hell. The verses, the vast and kind of just open, and then the chorus was just catchy as hell, and there's no way that you're gonna get this song out of your head. It's smart. It's you could see this at Rocklahoma. It's for the masses, but it's not corny, and it's got some great guitar lines, good solo. There's he can show off and do some talent, but it also serves the song, which is the most important thing. So it's a great song, and Kansas City is bringing it. We just had another Kansas City band on, so there's some good stuff coming out of that place.
Yeah. The thing that jumped out at me was it's a real, like you said, for the masses. It's got that polished kind of vibe that fits on the radio, and I think they even listed in their influences as Seether, and it's kind of got that vibe with the guitar, real, polished, catchy, clean kind of hard rock, but once the guy starts singing, it's real distinguishable. Like he's got one of those voices that kind of parts of it reminded me of Jimmy Newquist from Caroline Spine.
That's crazy, because I kind of thought the same thing sometimes. I'm like, should I bring it up? I wonder if that sounds stupid.
But no,
it's just insane that you just said that. Yeah. That's awesome.
So and his voice is real distinguishable. You know who you're listening to, no matter what the song is. And I think that's a cool thing that a lot of bands lack. Even if the vocals are great, you can't pick them out instantly.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And like you said, the guitars as well. That opening riff, is real. Got its kind of a tone that you could think would be something you'd be able to recognize later on as well. And it's real. It's also well written, catchy. It's like the first time you listen to it, within 2 or 3 minutes, you're singing along in your head.
Yeah.
Like you know the chorus before the song's over,
Oh, no doubt. And you want to hear it again, so that is a good thing, for sure.
Yeah. Check these guys out. They're on Facebook. It's just Maximus, Maximus. They're also on Reverb Nation. You can listen to that song there. They've got another track on there as well. So be sure to check these guys out, follow them, see what they're doing. They're touring. I know, well, not touring, but they play. I noticed they've got gigs in several places like Iowa and, of course, Kansas City. And I saw they had a date in New York even. So these guys are out there and getting around.
Making tracks.
Yeah, so hope to hear more from them in the future. All right, moving on into new stuff. We wanted to get right into one of our favorite bands, is Life of Agony.
Oh, yeah.
We've mentioned this before on the podcast, but we never really went too in-depth about anything. But they just announced today when we're recording this that they are putting out their first new album in, I think, 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
Was it 2006?
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that we kind of thought might not ever happen. Not that they ever said it would. It's just kind of after 10 years, you start thinking, they might not do new music anymore.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, for a while, they were pretty much broken up.
Right.
So
yeah, they got back together, was it last year, and started playing dates, or maybe it was 2014? I don't know. And, they did a lot of festivals in Europe and shows there, and, they would hit America in the major markets like New York and LA where they could draw a big crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So, I hope the fact that they have new music coming means at least even if it's a small run, they do some U.S. dates that bring them, to Dallas or something in our vicinity.
yes,
Because it's
definitely.
been, I can't even think how long it's been since we saw them.
It's been quite a while. Diamond Ballroom, Oklahoma City, I think it was around 2004-ish. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but it has been a long time. It has been a while since we've seen them, and I'm so glad to have new music. I'm really excited and just trying to think of what it will sound like, because Life of Agony, although they've always been a rock band, metal, they started out in hardcore. No matter what, each album sounds different, but it's them. And that might sound crazy, but that's the only way I can explain it. And their power and their lyrics and their content and their message really speaks to a lot of people that are going through stuff. It spoke to me big time over different points of my life. So I've just always felt a strong connection with that band. They're one of my favorites. So I'm really excited, and I can't wait to hear this record. And like you said, hopefully they'll want to, pimp this album and get on the road. So hopefully we can, make a trip to Dallas or Kansas City or something. That would be great to see them again. I think that, I've watched them on YouTube these last year or two that they've been back playing. They look happier and seem, in the zone a lot more than they have in the past. So I'm just really excited to see these guys live, and I hope they come around. It'll mean a whole lot to me if that happens.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched any of their shows. Just obviously read stuff all the time and listen to the old music. But are they playing a lot of stuff? Do their live sets now encompass everything, or is it heavy just on the early stuff? Do people know, or
it's heavy on the early stuff,
or does it have the Soul Searching Sun and the Broken Valley stuff?
No, I don't. I think every now and then I've seen the Love to Let You Down or Weeds, but mostly it's the first two records.
Right.
That's what they focus on the most, and that makes sense. That's what people know, and I think most people want to hear. They could literally do all of Soul Searching Sun, and I would be
right
in hog heaven.
Yeah.
But I know that probably won't happen. That's okay.
Man, I remember when I can fully admit it. When that came out, I was so butthurt.
Really?
It's weird because I listened to it and I just thought, because it had a lot more accessible sound. And
it was a major departure, yeah.
And it's just I listened to it, I'm like, man, I just got so, fanboy butthurt because it was like a departure. But the funny thing was, even then, I just still kept listening to it.
Exactly.
And even though I would bitch to people, if, besides you, anyone else that wanted to talk about it, I would complain about it. but I never stopped listening to it. And now, obviously, years later, removed from it, it's like I just listen to it because it's a great album. You know?
Exactly.
Because once you grow up and get past being, how old was I when I came out? 20 or something. Mm-hmm. You grow up and you just like music for music.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what genre you want to put it in. A great album is a great album, and that's one of them.
Yeah. So, you kind of wonder what this new one's going to be like. You would assume it's probably more Broken Valley than Soul Searching Sun. I don't think it's going to go clear back to the early sound, but you never know.
I don't know.
Some bands do that.
I have a feeling, I hate to say something as basic as judging from the cover album, because they even released the cover of the album, or the artwork. It looks like it'll be heavy. That means nothing really, but
right.
As fans, as dorks, we can speculate.
Right.
So it looks like it's going to be heavy. So, again, I'm just really curious and excited to see, and I'll like it no matter what.
Yeah.
Because I'm just such a huge fan. I think, and also just another thing I wanted to say, since we're on the subject, is, like I've mentioned in past episodes, I'm not really big on live albums, but Life of Agony they have an album called Live at the Lowlands, Live from the Lowlands, 97.
Right.
Where they played at a metal festival, but they played in a tent, and they did kind of a laid back, clean kind of set, and they did different versions of their songs, and that is probably the best live album out there, in my opinion. It's my favorite live album ever. So, that's just, I'm geeking out on Life of Agony. So I'm done. Go ahead.
That's what we're here to do.
That's right. By God.
Right. I don't think they didn't have a release date, did they, on that press release?
I don't think so.
But obviously they've already got an album title and artwork, so you would assume we're not too far off. I would assume it's the spring.
That's right. Well, what's the album title again?
A place where there is no pain? Or
A Place Where There's No More Pain, I'm pretty sure.
A Place Where There's No More Pain. That sounds like a Life of Agony title, too.
It definitely does. They're not letting us down on that deal.
Right. Well, we also wanted to bring up, of course, as every human alive knows, David Bowie passed away.
That's right.
A couple of, recently, depending on when you're listening to this. David Bowie's not really our typical fare here, but it'd probably be criminal to not acknowledge this.
That's right, because Bowie he's one of those guys where, he's classic rock, but he also had a little bit of alternative-y stuff going on in his later years, and his reach just goes to everybody.
Right.
So, you can apply him to tons of stuff that's obvious and that's not so obvious.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say, is that there's not very many artists that you can say influenced as wide a range as people as David Bowie probably did. There's certainly some out there like Queen or the Beatles or whoever, but a lot of, major bands that influence people were into that specific, style of music. Like Kiss, they influenced mass amounts of people, but it's all rock, hard rock, metal guys,
Exactly.
Where David Bowie influenced all those guys as well, including all the alternative dudes and even just pop people, anything. And, you hear people that covered him, everyone from Nirvana to Poison, there's covers out there of all his stuff, and he's phenomenal, in everything he ever did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say I was the biggest fan. For most of my life growing up, I just knew all the hits and the singles.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really until maybe 3 or 4 years ago, whenever, streaming really took off and you could easily access all this stuff, where I kind of went through and just pulled up all this stuff and just started playing stuff, all this old stuff, and I was kind of blown away about how he's one of those guys, kind of like Queen, where you can just hit play on any random album and it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
There's not stock bullshit filler anywhere, It's like, even if it's not really something you're in the mood for, eventually it's going to be, because, he goes from somber to happy to whatever, he spans the gamut of everything. And, just all those songs like Suffragette City and Rebel Rebel and Changes and I'm Afraid of Americans and, of course, Under Pressure. The list goes on of just amazing music, I don't know. Did you have any favorites, or were you more just?
Yeah, I liked. I guess this is. I'm kind of like. I think you delved a little bit more into him than I did, as it sounds. I always remember his early '80s stuff, like China Girl and Let's Dance.
Right.
I think Stevie Ray Vaughan played on that album, and those are really memorable to me. Really catchy stuff. I liked Suffragette City, Rebel Rebel. Those are like iconic. Those songs are like blueprints to what so many bands, so many artists, constructed their songs off of. I mean, you can hear those. You hear those songs, you're like, oh, man, that's where so and so got this from, and so got that from. They're like blueprints. So we definitely lost another icon. Has fallen for sure.
Right. And well, you think we've mentioned several times we grew up. The first music that we got heavy into was glam.
Exactly.
And this guy, was a major force in the 70s on all those, like the David Bowie and T-Rex and Slade and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Influenced tons of these guys,
Hardcore.
Like Motley Crue and Poison and Def Leppard and whoever. Even if they were a little heavier than that, that's where the sound and definitely the image, he was doing all that before everybody else. In the 70s, it was him and Alice Cooper,
Yeah.
They were putting on those shows, basically, as well as performing music.
That's right. I heard Joe Elliott from Def Leppard on Eddie Trunk yesterday, and, they were talking about David Bowie. And he said the only, like, all the Def Leppard were Bowie fans, but the only record they can all agree on to listen to, that they all love, the same, is Hunky Dory. So I want to go, look that record up and listen to it now. I'm going to have to. And that sounds like, it sounds so cliche, but hey,
Right.
Whatever,
Well, hey, that's how you discover a lot of music, whenever someone you like says, hey, I like this, right?
Exactly.
That's why you're such a massive Budgie fan.
Oh, yeah.
Because of Bread fan,
I got all their stuff.
Right. All right, do we want to jump into this other track we want to play now before
Yeah.
we talk about some other stuff?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we want to play a band out of Oklahoma, which we tend to try to do as often as we can because we are Oklahomans ourselves.
And we love Oklahoma. And
Yeah.
Oklahoma rock.
Well, this band's out of Stigler, and they're called The Devil You Adore.
The song is called Refuse to Fade.
That was Refuse to Fade from The Devil You Adore. Once again, those guys are out of Stigler, Oklahoma. That song's got a real badass guitar riff, which I would say, just to start, they sent me an EP and we listened to all these. There's like 7 songs on there. And that's the first thing that jumped out at me, is every single song has a distinguishable, catchy, really badass guitar riff to open it for the most part. And this one, of course, is no different. And it builds right into like some double bass and some heavy drums, and the drums and the guitar just shine throughout this. And her vocals are really cool. A lot of the stuff on this, like this, and even on some other songs on their EP, her vocals remind me of like one of those 90s punk style girls, like Bikini Kill or L7, where it's like can be pretty at times, but then it gets real. You're just waiting for the angst to explode.
Yeah.
And then it does happen on a couple of these songs. So that's kind of cool, because it's not, when these songs start, you don't expect that voice to come on, and when it does, it's kind of cool how it melds with the guitar and drum sound.
That's right. The production, what I like is it's loud in your face, but it also is kind of raw and demo-y, but in a good way. It kind of gets your gut, and this song is really cool because it's not your normal verse chorus. They really just mixed it up, and but everything comes together and just kind of makes sense anyways. And again, we're playing a song from a band from Stigler, Oklahoma, and we did that before. So there's a couple, bands from Stigler that are there's something going on there too.
Right. All right, find these guys on Facebook, hit them up, give them a like. Once again, it's The Devil You Adore. And I know you can get on there, find out how you can get an EP for yourself. They made a post here a couple weeks ago that they made like 100 specialized EPs. I thought it was kind of cool. They made the EP, all the bands signed it and they sent it out. I know that because I got one, and that's how we listened to this and checked it out. And I thought that was a cool kind of promotion, for a band starting out. And they mentioned that once those 100 are gone, they're not going to do that again, and they're working on, a full-on album.
Yeah, that is a great way to get your name out and get your sound out for sure.
Yeah, so get on there, give them a like, and I know there's at least one song on there you can check out. So check these guys out, The Devil You Adore. And like I mentioned earlier, if you've got a band and you want us to play your song, hit us up at thethunderunderground@gmail.com.
That's right, we'll play it.
Yep. And earlier, when we were talking about Life of Agony, you mentioned how their live album was your favorite live album of all time.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
My favorite live album of all time is Swallow This Live by Poison.
Really?
No, I just thought I'd throw that out. I remember I did love it. I listened to it a million times when I was a kid, but I don't think it's my favorite album of all time.
Tell me you skipped past C.C. DeVille's guitar solo.
That was the best part.
Oh, God, I don't know if we can be friends anymore. I love Poison, but anyways.
No, the reason I was making this segue is because Enforcer has a live album out.
That's right.
And you were talking about this, how you wanted to bring this up.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Enforcers, they're a band from Sweden. They've been around since 2006, 2007. If you like early new wave of British heavy metal, this is your band, like, for real. They kind of go back to all that, and they've got the early feel of that, the real kind of dirty and raw, like Paul Di'Anno-ish era Iron Maiden, maybe some Diamond Head in there, And I really latched onto them. I thought they had some great riffs, soaring vocals, that whole vibe going on. And just over the years, I don't know, when you get inundated with so much music and all these bands, stuff might fall through the cracks. But I'd always check up on what they were doing, and they'd had some albums out. They put out a great album called From Beyond at the beginning of the year, and they just...
beginning of this year?
Yes. Yeah, the beginning of this year. And they just put out a live album called Live by Fire, and I think it's a DVD too. from Japan, I'm pretty sure. And you got to check these guys out. They're on tour in the U.S. this month and in February. So Enforcer, I mean, this is just old school, classic metal, maybe a little thrashy, just riffs for days. I'm really excited about this band, and I got to get back into them and keep them in my head.
And, I remember listening to them when you first got into them. You mentioned them, so I checked them out, and I haven't listened to them in several years, so I can't really comment. But I will note that over the years, I've commented that I've realized that if a band's from Sweden, you don't even have to listen to them. You know it's going to kick ass.
Exactly.
It's like somehow every band I've ever listened to from Sweden kicks ass.
That's right.
No matter the genre.
Yeah, it could be Ghost or Dark Tranquility.
Backyard Babies.
Yeah, Backyard.
Soil Work.
Yeah, I mean...
It doesn't matter.
Or in your case, Roxette.
Oh, well, yeah, fuck yeah, Roxette. How'd I forget that?
Exactly. Yeah, if it's from Sweden, it's awesome.
Yep.
So, yeah, again, Enforcer, check them out. You will not be disappointed.
And they're opening for who?
They're headlining. I think, yeah, or it's a co-headliner with Warbringer.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, that's got to be a crazy bill. For any of you guys in the Dallas, Texas area, they're going to play Dallas on February 14th. A great show to take your honey to.
Yeah, if you're in the Arkansas area, Marty Friedman is playing on Valentine's Day, and I think it's Little Rock.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Too bad it's not closer.
I know, no kidding.
Yeah. Well, we've also got the new Hatebreed album that just got announced. Mm-hmm. And we mentioned earlier, because we were talking about Rocklahoma, and they announced today, I guess, the album details and a full-on headline tour, which they haven't done an extensive headline tour in America in a while.
That's right.
They've just done some here and there stuff, a few, dates in between Josta doing shows with his band, and then them opening for like Black Label last year and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think they did. They opened for Slipknot in the arena tour, and they do a couple of off dates or whatnot.
Yeah, they've been pretty lucky on that part that they got that Slipknot tour, they got that Five Finger Death Punch tour, and they got the Black Label Society tour.
Yeah. So
they got all the heavy hitters in the metal world, as a support slot, and I think that's what's helped over the last couple of years. More people being excited about Hatebreed when they come to town or whatever, because
exactly.
Before they were one of those underground bands that you had to be into to know. If not, they're just one of those bands that you had heard of. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, we've been into them since, probably early 2000s.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When we caught them in Ozfest the first time and all that stuff. But so we're pretty excited. They've got the new album coming out. The tour doesn't come around here, but that's because they're playing Rocklahoma, and Devil Driver is on the tour, direct support, and then Devil You Know is also third band down on most of the shows, and then Active Defiance is doing the last week or so of dates after the Devil You Know is off the show.
Okay, that's a strong bill.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, for being the third band down, those are two strong bands that feature, members that a lot of people know, whether they listen to those bands or not.
Yeah.
Because Active Defiance has the two guys from Megadeth, and Devil You Know has Howard Jones, formerly of Killswitch. And then that's just a great package, regardless of which lineup it is.
Exactly. And, Hatebreed they're intense. They've got riffs for days. They're just one of those memorable bands. They're fan-friendly. It's The Concrete Confessional is the title of the new album. Can't wait to hear it. It's not gonna let us down. I know it's just gonna be another heavy hitter.
Yeah, the one from a couple years ago, Divinity of Purpose, was just badass.
Oh, definitely.
It had 2 or 3 songs on there that stood out to me as some of their greatest they've ever done. Like Dead Man Breathing. Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm not going to say hopefully, every album they've ever done has tons of songs I love on it. So I'm pretty sure we will not be disappointed.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to be good.
Because we went from being Hatebreed fans to being Josta fanboys for the most part. Because this guy both of us listen to this guy's podcast, pretty much every episode that comes out, even if it's someone we don't like or
Yeah,
don't
and
care
like
about.
the day it comes out, we
Right.
listen to it. And if it wasn't for his podcast, we probably wouldn't do this one.
That's true.
Oh, I know it's
Yeah.
true.
Because we'd listen to some other podcasts that we really like, but that's the one that just got us so enveloped into the whole podcast thing that we're like, man, it's something we'd mentioned before,
Yeah.
but that's what really kind of pushed it over the edge, where we went from being, oh, that'd be a cool thing, to be like, we've got to fucking
Yeah.
do this.
We can do this. Let's do this.
Right? And we've had interviews that Josta hasn't even got yet.
That's right.
Josta hasn't had Sid Falk.
No.
No. He hasn't had Scattered Hamlet.
No, he hasn't.
Nope.
He hasn't had Joey Allen from Warrant.
That's true. Sure, he's had Kirk Winstein, but who hasn't?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And speaking of that, we've got a couple exciting interviews we think coming up that we've got confirmation on, but I'm not going to mention them so I don't jinx it. And in the meantime, last week we talked about Skid Row. Probably the last 2 weeks, actually. I just like to bring up Skid Row any chance I get, I think.
Hey, why not?
Right. And we had talked about the whole singer situation, and then like the day after we posted that was whenever Sebastian Bach sent out a couple of tweets basically publicly apologizing to, Scotty Hill, Dave Sabo, and Rachel Boland.
Yeah, he's really bucking for this reunion, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's probably. And when I first saw that, or when I first saw those tweets, I instantly thought that is genius, because
Oh yeah,
Sebastian Bach's always had a bad name for himself. Is just kind of being,
a loudmouth.
just kind of like, just being a loudmouth. Kind of annoyed a lot of people over the years. He's always been. He's a professional musician. He shows up at shows, puts on a performance. He's great in that aspect, but I think he just rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I thought, in Skid Row, on the other hand, the only thing people ever bitch about is that they don't have Sebastian Bach. So I thought it was kind of genius that he did that, because then if they don't do anything about it, it makes them look like the bad guys and not him.
Yeah, they look like the a-holes.
Yeah, because everybody wants that to happen, and they're like, well, he's willing to do it, and they won't do it, them fuckers. So...
And what did he say? He said, to be honest, I don't know exactly what he said. I'm not going to paraphrase or whatever, but the gist of it was he acknowledged that he was, said a lot of dumb stuff.
Right.
He apologized, and he was like, just being honest. And
he said, let's sit down and hash this out, basically.
yeah, I mean, so, and at this point, Skid Row really might want to think about it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you're into Skid Row, we're not going to rehash everything we said, but we went into more detail about this last week, our thoughts on the situation. We're fans of both sides. I'd be happy if it happens. I'm not going to be pissed if it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've liked Skid Row whenever Bach hasn't been there.
Yeah.
And I like Bach, whenever he's solo, so whatever.
Yeah, however it plays out, it's going to be interesting, and we'll have to just stay tuned. We'll see.
Yeah, go back, hit play on episode 36, and listen to some more Skid Row talk if you like Skid Row.
Oh yeah, you'll get our analysis for sure.
Right. Well, did we have? We had something else we wanted to talk about.
I think we're talking. There's. We just found out a couple of really cool shows coming up in the area.
Yeah, we've been we talked about last week. Not to cut you off, but that we. Pretty happy because we've kind of got slammed here early on in the year.
Yeah.
We got Trivium, Anthrax, Lamb of God, Iron Maiden, Nightwish, and we were considering going to the Megadeth Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah. Havoc.
Children Bodom Havoc show. All that stuff in the first couple months of the year. And then, of course, we've got Rocklahoma. And then we just got these shows. Yes, both of them yesterday were announced.
Yeah, and one I'm really proud to say I knew about before you, and that was The Cult at Brady Theater.
Right.
March 17th, March 19th, I can't remember.
19th.
But I saw it and forwarded it to you, and you were like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, yes, he didn't know yet. I broke it to him.
Right.
Because you are a huge Cult fan. I mean, I love The Cult too, but you are a huge Cult fan.
Yes. I've seen these guys, I don't know how many times. I've seen them at least like 4 or 5 times in just the last few years.
Yeah.
And a couple other times throughout my existence, but they, one of those bands, no matter how old they get, they still just put on a great live show. Those, there's been several incarnations of the band, but of course there's always Billy Duffy and Ian Astbury are always going to be there.
Yeah, as long as you have those two, you have the cult.
Yeah, and, Ian's got that voice, which is unmistakable. It's just one of the best ever, and I think Billy Duffy, I've always said, is one of the most underrated rock guitarists there's ever been. Just because he's just got an undeniable signature sound, and no one brings him up. It's just like you've got those guys like Slash or Eddie Van Halen, where as soon as you hear him, you know who you're listening to, and Billy Duffy's the exact same way.
Yeah, but nobody ever talks about it.
Yeah, and they're those kind of guys that work together. They play off each other, writing-wise, performance-wise. I'm such a fan. I throw them up there with the Page and the Plant and Tyler and Perry. That level of how good they are.
Yeah.
And they don't disappoint live, so I'm really excited to see them play in the Brady, because I've seen them at the Canes a couple of times. I've seen them outdoors 2 or 3 times, so this will be cool to see them in that venue, because it's got, of course, the Brady has an awesome sound.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's going to be a good show.
Yeah. And then after that, in May, we got Oklahoma City is getting one of your current favorite bands.
Yes.
And a band I love, of course, which is Ghost.
Yeah, Ghost is coming to the Diamond Ballroom in Oklahoma City in May. We will be there. We saw them in House of Blues in Dallas, and Diamond Ballroom is like a little smaller. The ceiling's lower. It's just going to look... I just can't really imagine it. It seems like it should be bigger for Ghost, but, it doesn't matter. It's going to be an insane show. It's going to be visual. I know they're going to have a good set. Hopefully they'll have a great set list. So I'm really pumped for this show.
Yeah, and if you're one of those people that are on the fence about them and you have a chance to see them live, go see them live, and you'll move to the side of digging them.
Exactly. People just talk about their look or whatever, and yeah, whatever, say what you want, and that's if you're into that, cool. If you're not, that's cool. But you can put on the CD and just it's just smart rock and roll. It's riffy. It's catchy. It's lush. You can't deny this band. I heard them the first time I heard them. Excuse me. The first time I heard them, I didn't even know that they were theatrical with masks and all that. I just thought they were a band, and I was floored. So it's going to be an insane show, and I'm so glad to get to see him again. And that's the thing, there's like so many shows, something's going to have to fall by the wayside.
Right.
Because, it's going to get pricey. So it's going to be interesting to pick and choose which ones I can and can't and all that stuff. But I'm really going to try to make Ghost.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because it's close to Rocklahoma, but I think it's on is it on a Sunday?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I can't remember if I looked or not. But
and I saw today they released VIP packages for it, like meet and greets.
Oh, really?
So, you'd get to go up there and meet them in all their masks and their uniforms and all that kind of stuff.
Get your picture taken with Papa or Nameless Ghoul.
Yeah, you get your picture taken. I wonder if Papa Emeritus is in his full-on Pope garb for the meet and greet, or if he's in his little tuxedo with no hat thing that he does, kind of, I wonder which one it is. So we'll see.
It's probably the easier one.
Yeah, the one that's quicker to put on and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, anyways, that's just rock nerd talk for you. But, I'm really excited for that show. I can't wait to see him again.
Same here. Well, I think that covers what we wanted to ramble on about this week, right?
Yeah, I think that wraps her up.
Yeah, you hit us up on the web at thethunderunderground.com. There's links to pretty much everything, which is all our social media, and all the podcasts are embedded on there. or you can go straight to soundcloud.com/thunder-underground. Check out all our past episodes. There's obviously 36 of them before this one. We've got stuff on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All those are, well, Twitter's THNDR, ground. And then Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are all The Thunder Underground, all one word. Follow us, like us, share us to all your friends. Let everybody know that we're here and we're not going anywhere.
That's right. That's right. We ain't going anywhere. We're gonna be the nasty pimple on your ass that you can't get rid of. Okay, maybe not that bad, right. But we want you to want us to.
We're the Vince Neil of podcasts.
Oh God. Again, we need to just wrap this up.
Right. All right. Until next time.
See you.